Hello there. A day or two after last week's report, I made it to Chapter 8 in this book by Doc Maffetone. Now, Chapter 8 describes overtraining syndrome. And what Dr. Maffetone described as Stage 1 overtraining was reminiscent of how I have been feeling the past 7 to 10 days. And since I'm already following Dr. Maffetone's advice on heart rate training and running, I decided I should probably follow his advice on overtraining as well. Now, Dr. Maffetone's recommendation was to cut mileage by 50 to 70%. I ended up cutting by 75%, but it was because I ended up doing a fair bit of construction work around my father's house, and I figured that that was a big enough stress to make up for that 5% discrepancy over his maximum recommended cut. Now, this means that I ran 5 miles this week instead of the 20 I ran the week prior. It was pretty strange, but as I went through and I started checking metrics each day with reduced mileage or days off, I noticed my heart rate variability increasing, which is a good sign. It's indicating better balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And that peak finally hit today. Today was the first day where the reduced training and days off where heart rate variability did not increase beyond where it was. It stuck around the same point where it was the day before. And so I'm thinking I'm moving out of the woods on this, which I think is due to having caught this fairly early. It's just good fortune running upon the chapter when I did. Now, this means that going forward, I'm going to start increasing mileage again. Probably not to the 20 to 25 range I had been gunning for, but let's say 15 miles. And then we'll bring rucking back in at 6. And I should also note that I did not do any rucking this week, so shame on me for that. Now, the one thing I did manage to complete from my goal for this past week was the testing on the push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups. The notes say it was 47 sit-ups, whereas my notes say that my previous best was 21, so a good increase there. For pull-ups, I managed 5 consecutive, whereas previously it had been 4, so some progress there, but not as large as sit-ups. And then push-ups was 44 this time, and as you might recall, my best is 47. So no improvement in push-ups, but moderate to exciting improvements in the other 2. Now, having read further in here, I do see that Dr. Maffetone discourages any sort of anaerobic training during an aerobic base building period. And this is certainly my aerobic base building period. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I think what I'll end up doing, though, is that I will keep the push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups in until August 24th when school gets back in. Then after that point, I will phase them out for a couple of months as I work on my aerobic base and then bring them back in later, some point after there, or once I have the feeling that my aerobic base is sufficient, or perhaps I've hit a plateau in the aerobic base and there are no factors that would be causing that plateau, and so then I think I'd be safe to bring in these anaerobic exercises again. So there you have it. Not the week I was hoping for, but the week I needed. I look forward to getting back at more running next week. And until next time, cheers.